What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here with some more transfer updates for you guys. And another quiet day at Tottenham Hotspur. Nothing much seems to be going down. It's like Spurs fans' emotions are like yo-yos at the moment. Like, bloody hell, that week when we got the Kudus and the Morgan Gibbs-White, here we go on cloud 9. Gibbs-White falls down and, you know, no signing in sight. We're like, we need attacking players. We need attacking players. And just nothing seemed to be happening. And then last night, straight out the blue, we got a bomber from Fabrizio Romano and Mikey Moore saying that Tottenham are in club-to-club talks with Manchester City regarding winger Savinho. And it's always at this moment in time, since Johan Lang has come, it's just like something out of the blue, isn't it? Like just no one is talking about.
Working in the darkness, working in the shadows, under her cloak and dagger. That's how Lange likes to work. And this deal is really a quite incredible deal, if we can put it off. We'll go into more detail a bit later, but it really has come out of nowhere. This deal, for a player who I think is top quality, is something that has completely taken everyone, I think, by surprise. There were some rumours and murmurings about this deal last week, but I didn't, for one, believe a word of it. I thought there's no chance that something like this would happen. So it's classic Tottenham. When you're a Tottenham fan, you have to learn that it's only once you've given up all hope that things start happening. Exactly. So once we start thinking about, okay, you know, actually this window's terrible, and, you know, everyone's saying, oh, this season we're going to be bottom half again and we're not ready for the season and all this stuff. As soon as you give up hope, then all of a sudden we get a bit of a surprise like this. That's always how it works.
Well, have you given up hope on Eze?
Have I given up hope on Eze? Yeah, I've given up hope, yeah. He's not coming.
That's what I like to hear, man. Everyone just give up all hope on Eberechi Eze.
Give up hope.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the deal, what all the journalists are saying. So first of all, David Ornstein said this morning that Tottenham are in talks with Man City to sign Savinho. Man City not actively wanting to sell. 50 million deal being discussed at this moment in time. 21-year-old open to Tottenham move. Pep Guardiola tends not to block when a player wants out. Fabrizio Romano says the more on the Savinho deal and the Tottenham exclusive story. First proposal has already been sent by Spurs worth 50 million euros, and Man City want more. Negotiations are ongoing with City open to selling, as Savinho is keen on the move, but only at their conditions. Deal absolutely on. Thomas Frank is really pushing for Tottenham to sign Savinho. Something in the region of 70 million euros could be enough to sign Savinho. Tottenham are on it, and he has a feeling that this deal could happen. Savinho wants to play every single game and feel like a very important player. Personal terms will not be a problem with Tottenham. Mikey Moore says that Tottenham have already presented a first official proposal for Savinho to Man City, from Man City. The figure is around 50 million euros. City are asking for more. Negotiations continue. Tom Allnut says that Spurs have held talks over a deal for Savinho. They also want to sign a creative midfielder by the end of the transfer window. The Telegraph says that Man City have given Tottenham some encouragement that the deal for Savinho can be done. And Brazilian publication Globo says that Savinho has given the green light to Tottenham and is now waiting for clubs to find an agreement. The conversations began last week, and the projection between the parties is that this won't become a soap opera. So they don't want this deal to rumble on. This deal could dominoes could fall quite quickly. We're hoping anyway. 70 million. First of all, do you think Spurs will go that far?
I think I don't think as a base fee, but when you include add-ons and all that kind of stuff, I can see a deal reaching 70 million euros, is what, 65 million pounds. I think at the end of the day, when you've got a brilliant talent and someone who, for me, who's been in the Premier League already for a year, I think he's shown what he can do in the Premier League, maybe not to the fullest extent, but I think last season, I thought he was a success by and large. Yes, he didn't score maybe as many goals as you'd like, and he's still young. He's still 20 years of age, but he didn't look like he was out of his depth in the Premier League. He was impacting games, even games where he wasn't scoring goals. He was making life so difficult for the opposition defenders and always giving them trouble, always being a nuisance and causing a nuisance of himself. So for me, yes, I think 65 million, if you're looking at his current market value, is that a bit of an overpayment potentially? But I think sometimes when there's an opportunity here, I believe the reports that are saying that I think City are not desperate to sell him, but I think where City are coming from is Rodrigo's there, He wants to leave Real Madrid. He's obviously been at the top level for a bit longer. He's more ready-made. He's probably more ready to come in and slot in straight away and start getting goals and assists more regularly than Savinho. They're not too dissimilar in age. I think Rodrigo's 24, Savinho's 21, so he's a bit older. So they're looking at the situation. They've got Oscar Bob, they've got Doku, two up-and-coming wingers in their team, in their squad. So they're thinking, if we can get a good fee, if someone's willing to pay a bit over market value for Savinho, we spend that money and get Rodrigo, we're better off for it. We've still got two up-and-coming wingers anyway. And Savinho gets more regular game time ahead of the World Cup, which is what he's looking for. So I think everyone kind of wins. The only thing I would say is I'm just very surprised that if I was City, I would be more like, you're not having Savinho, we're keeping him, and we're getting Rodrigo on top of that. That's the kind of mentality I thought they would have. But clearly, they're willing to compromise on this situation. I'm just surprised because I thought he looked electric last season. I thought he was fantastic. So I'm shocked that they're willing to let him go. I think it would be a phenomenal bit of business for Tottenham. Yes, we're overpaying, but sometimes when there's an opportunity, when you can get someone like Savinho through the door, I think you just got to do it. I think, and I think 65 million is not a ridiculous fee. No, I really don't.
I think it's decent when you're looking at the players that we spent that kind of money on already, in Richarlison and Dom Solanke and Mohamed Kudus there as well, a bit less. I think, and Brennan Johnson, 50 million. I think Savinho at 65 million looks like a good price, to be honest. I'm a massive fan of him. I was a massive fan of him all season. When I saw him play on the right-hand side for Man City, I was thinking, like, yeah, this guy needs a bit of work still. But with the attributes that he had, it looked like he could be like the heir to the Mahrez throne, and he does have a few similar attributes to what Mahrez was showing. And I think with Savinho, if we can bring him in, he's a player that can play left, he can play right, he can even play through the middle. We've got such versatile options in the forward line. If we can add him with like him and Kudus on the flanks for us, on the wings, that is a scary proposition. Mm-hmm. We're all talking about how we look so numb up front, and you know, it's a mid-table attack and everything like that. Well, Savinho massively improves that, in my opinion. And I think when you've got him, if you were to play him on the left and Kudus on the right, I mean, you've got two proper one-on-one demons, one-on-one dribblers that can just take it past a man with ease. Something that we haven't had at this club probably ever, when you're looking at both sides, you know, where you can attack from both sides. So I think Savinho, in terms of what is his best position at this moment in time, you saw last season he played predominantly on the right for Man City. He did play fill in a couple of times on the left as well. And actually his best numbers in terms of goal contributions come off the left. The season before, when he was at Girona, what kind of swayed Man City to sign him, he only played on the left, and he terrorized La Liga that season. He was in that season for Girona, he was literally, the stats say he was literally one of the best wingers in Europe at that moment in time. You know, I think he got like double figures in goals and assists. I think about over 20 goal contributions that season, and that is what made Man City buy him. Yes, he didn't kind of take those numbers into the Premier League, but he definitely showed that he can terrorize Premier League defenses, like not at the same level he terrorized La Liga defenses, but he was a work in progress for Man City. And how many times have you seen a top winger go to Man City and just not get those goal contributions in the first year, and then ultimately they turn into a top winger in the Premier League? You're looking at a lot of Man City wingers, they don't get high goal contributions because of the way Pep plays them. They're mainly just creators, and he did get like 10 assists last season. So I think Savinho would be an absolute top quality signing for Tottenham Hotspur, and I'm so excited about it. Yeah, in terms of his best position, I think right now, in a weird way, it probably is off the left, just because I think the way he plays, he's an excellent dribbler, and he's a phenomenal a one-on-one kind of taking players on, taking on defenders. But I feel like when he's off the right, he opens up the game so much that he has like multiple different options. When he gets into the final third, he can cut inside, he can go down the line, he can put a cross in, all these different things, use his right foot, use his left foot. He's very left-footed, and because he's quite young, bit inexperienced, quite raw still, I feel like when he's off the right, he
he complicates things too much. Sometimes he doesn't pick the right decision, or he overcomplicates what he wants to do because he gives himself so many options. But I feel like when he's off the left, he keeps things very simple. Just goes down the line, beats his man, whips in across with his left foot, and it's very simple. There's kind of only one option. You either you cut off the left, either you strike it across the face of goal, or you put in a cross. So I think it's very simple for him when he's off the left, and because he's very strong, fast. He's electric. He's very difficult to handle. I do think his future is going to be off the right. I think that is where his future belongs, because I think he's got much more variety in that position. I was watching a video of Pep, and he was saying once he gets that killer instinct in the final third, goal scoring and stuff, he's going to be an exceptional player, and that's kind of how I feel about him. I feel right now he's got incredible talent, and I still think he provides right now, and that's why his assist numbers are strong, but he needs to work on that ability in front of goal, his finishing, that kind of stuff. Once he does do that, he's going to fly. But I think if you ask Savinho, I reckon he would say I think he would probably rather play off the right. But I think right now he's probably a bit more effective off the left currently. I don't think that's going to be his position long term, though. It's a bit like how Bale started his career as a left winger, and then he moulded himself into a right winger. That's kind of how I see Savinho. Bale was very similar, because I feel like when you're a left foot on the left in this modern game, you're just you can do it, but at some point, if you become too effective, you're just going to be too easy to mark out the game, because you just block that run down the line, and all of a sudden you're stopping him. I think
really do that to Bale.
Yeah, well, that's why he moved off the left to the right.
Yeah, because he was being like double and triple.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. And that's how it ends usually with players like that in that position, unless you kind of create a system where you get them isolated all the time, which is difficult to do. I think eventually teams will get wise to it. Whereas if you're playing off the right, it becomes much harder, much more unpredictable.
I guess the beauty of it is that you don't have to pigeonhole him into one position, because he's so versatile. I even think he can play through the middle for us and do such a really good job. So, look, I think at the start of next season, I do think we'll see him predominantly off the left. And I think that's where the hole is in the squad for him right at this moment in time. Assuming that we do get a number 10. If we don't get a number 10, then there is the option to play him off the right and play Kudus through the middle, or vice versa. Which way do you think it will go?
Yeah, I think the idea is to play him off the right, and I think the idea is to play him off the right and have Kudus play a bit more time in the 10 and sign another 10 on top of that, because the original plan was obviously have Maddison and Gibbs-White. That's obviously completely fallen flat on its face, with Gibbs-White falling through and Maddison getting an ACL. So I think we're going to have to be creative. I think the idea is to have two attacking midfielders in that position. So I think we've looked at this opportunity with Savinho wanting more game time and an opportunity to get him in. And I think we're thinking, all right, if we can get him and play him on the right, you can have Kudus in the 10, you can then maybe sign another number 10, and then you get that dynamic we would have had with maybe Maddison and Gibbs-White instead. And I think Kudus in the 10 is fairly similar to what a Gibbs-White maybe could have provided in that position. As in more similar to Gibbs-White than it would have been to Maddison, but it still means we need that kind of passing midfielder in the team. So I think that's a necessity. But I think that's the idea, because I still think you got Odegaard and you got Tell off the left. Look, I know fans won't want to hear it and won't like that they're the options, but they are the options. And it also gives you the option of going Kudus right as well, Savinho left, and the new number 10 in the 10 as well. That's also an option.
For me, what I predominantly want to see is a new 10 to come in, and for our first choice, starting kind of front three, I mean behind the attacking midfielder, left wing and right wing, is Kudus on the right, Savinho on the left, the new number 10 in the middle. When you can't play that number 10 every single game, so when he can't play, move Kudus into the middle, put Savinho on the right, and then put Odegaard on the left. Mm-hmm. That's what I would like to see. Yeah,
or you got Tell there as well. You got different options, and I think it gives you so much more flexibility as well. Getting Savinho in there.
I do think that if we do bring in this number 10 along with Savinho, if Richarlison does leave, I don't think we'll sign another number 9. I think Tell will be used as that backup striker.
Yeah, which I don't think.
It's not great.
I don't know. I don't know if that's the best course of action. I think I would want Tell off the left for me personally, but yeah, maybe. I mean, he has been playing Tell in striker, but I do think he's only been playing him there because Solanke's been injured. I don't know if Solanke was fit, would we have seen Tell at all up front in this pre-season? I'm not convinced. But that is where we've been seeing him. He hasn't really done well in that position. I think.
But what I'm saying is if Richarlison leaves.
Yeah, I understand.
But if Richarlison leaves, then we only have Solanke, and he can't play every minute of every game, can he?
Correct.
So someone's going to have to play there, and
Correct.
he's the only one.
Yeah, which I'd rather keep Richarlison in that aspect, but that's by the by.
If you keep Richarlison, he's probably Teller's the number 2 because Richarlison's always injured.
Yeah, that might be true. Hopefully we can, keep him fit. That's a conversation for a different time. But in terms of Savinho, there's obviously another element to this deal. We're spending big money on a guy, for me, I think his future at right wing. Do we need more of a predominantly left winger as well? Does he see? Is he coming to Tottenham as a stepping stone? Is he coming to Tottenham because he really wants to play for us, or because he wants those minutes ahead of the World Cup? And as soon as a bigger club flutters their eyelids at him,
is that a big club?
I know, understand that, but he's moving for the game time, and I understand that. But if a big club, I don't know, a Madrid or whatever, come in for him, is he going to be flying? Is he going to be looking to leave soon? That's obviously a bit of a concern.
Yeah, but come on, you can say that about any player in our squad. Like, if Real Madrid seriously push for any of our players, you're telling me none of our players, all our players will probably want to go. So you're talking about the food chain here. And Real Madrid and a big club are always going to be higher than us.
But is he seeing us as a stepping stone, I guess, is the question. Is he here because he wants to play for us? I don't know. There's something strange about this deal.
What I think has happened here, I think he was the main man at Girona, right? Unbelievably key player for them, playing week in, week out. He's gone to Manchester City, and he's played a key part in their season, but they're still signing players in that. They've got Oscar Bob coming back. They've got such kind of fierce competition for places over there. He knows that he's not going to be playing as much as he did at Girona, and he wants to be the main man somewhere. So I feel like he wants to join somewhere where he's going to play and be considered as one of the main players, and not basically be part of a pep roulette, see less minutes because of it. So
yeah.
I think coming to Tottenham, he knows he's going to see a lot more minutes. It's a team in the Champions League. It's a team that's hoping to fight for top 5, top 6, whatever it may be. That's the ambitions for this season. So he sees a hole in the squad, and he sees himself, compared to the other wingers that we have, probably one of the best, if not the best winger.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm just posing the question. I don't think I necessarily believe it. I'm just posing the question about where does he see Tottenham in his career? Is it somewhere where he sees himself for 5 years, or does he just want to be here right now because he wants a bit more game time, and then he's off to search for another move to a big club? I hope it's the former. Another question, I guess that this brings is, obviously he's 21. He has had a year in the Premier League, but are we again spending big money on potential? Is he a ready-made star? Is this in the same vein of some of the other signings we've made, which we've complained about, where we've said we need ready-made, we don't need more potential, we need someone who's going to come in, be here, do it right now? Does Savinho represent that, or does he represent another guy who's just potential?
For me, he is potential. He's massive potential. But I think he can come in and do it right here, right now. I think he showed that at Manchester City last season. He showed it even more at Girona the season before, when Girona had that unbelievable season. He was probably the best player for them. So I think he's a player that has got a massively high ceiling, can definitely be a lot better than he is. But he can come in, and he already is one of the best wingers that we have at the football club. Him and Kudus, I think, are miles apart from all the other wingers we have in the squad.
Yeah, and I would argue, if people are arguing, this is more potential and stuff like that, I think what the seasons in Girona and even last season, what he's had, is much better than what Odebear has done in his career, and probably more better than what Tell as well has done, who's only really had a bit part role.
Miles better than what Tell's done.
So I would say, yes, it is. I wouldn't say it's guaranteed, like we're signing someone who's like guaranteed to hit the ground running in terms of showing his best, or get goals and assists straight away. But I would say, in terms of a player who's a sure thing, we know he can do it in the Premier League. We saw that last season. Yes, it maybe he's got more levels to go, but I think he showed he's definitely capable of playing at this level in the Premier League and Champions League as well. And La Liga, he showed at 19. he can be a star at that level as well. So for me, he's already shown he's very more than ready to step in right now and provide what we need him to.
Yeah, there's two different kind of players that you can sign at that age, like in terms of potential. There's one experienced young player and there's one just a young player that don't have much experience, right? Where both have potential, but one has shown a lot more than the other. And I think Savinho is definitely falls into the category of one of those experienced potential players. And those are the players that we like having at this club, like in terms of that can come in and make a difference right here, right now. And he's definitely a starting player for us. There's no doubt about it.
100%.
Like when we signed Tell and Odebear, yeah, they've got high ceilings as well, and they've got a lot of potential. But signing them, you can't say before we sign them or their first week of the club that they're definitely going to be starting for us week in, week out. This guy, it will be.
Yeah, I think so. I think Savinho has got star quality. He really does. I'm just shocked. I'm shocked they're willing to let him go. I'm shocked we're able to get him. I'm shocked he wants to come to us. Everything about this deal shocks me. So it's something just seems strange. It just seems strange that out of the blue, I can understand the logic of it. He's a bit part player. He wants to be a main man and he wants to come to Tottenham. But I also just feel like, what is City doing? Like, why are they willing to let him go? I understand, maybe he's pushing for it. I'm trying to work out, is he pushing for it because he wants the minutes, or is City pushing for it because they want to sign Rodrigo? What's the bigger force here?
I think it's a bit of both. I
understand it's a bit of both, but what's like the catalyst?
I think Savinho, first and foremost, wants to be a main man somewhere and wants to get that feeling back that he had at Girona, where he was the main man. And because of that, Man City never hold any. If any player shows any inkling of them wanting to leave, then Pep's like, all right, fine, just go. Like, we'll get someone else. It's not a problem. And they know Rodrigo's on the market as well. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like a pretty easy sell for them. Rodrigo, one of the best wingers in European football at this moment in time. And if you can sell Savinho and a McAtee and get that money in, and for that money sign a Rodrigo, I think it just suits all parties.
Or a Javier, talking about Xavi Simons as well.
Whoever it is, Xavi Simons and Rodrigo, if you can get one of them in for the money that you're selling these two players in, I think it makes sense for City, it makes sense for Tottenham, it makes sense for all players as well.
Yeah, and it's incredible how the stars have aligned, and it's allowing us to get someone like Savinho in, which would have been a dream at the beginning of the window to think about getting someone like him in. I never in my wildest dreams would have thought that was possible, and I never would have thought that City would be willing to let him go. I would have thought City saw the potential last season and were really excited about him. But sometimes football's all about timing, and timing sometimes the stars can just align in that way.
Sometimes football's just about finding that right opportunity at the right time. And is there a more opportunistic club than Tottenham Hotspur in the transfer window?
And Frank did say, was it last week, we're looking for opportunities, if to get another winger in. After, I think, Ali Gold was reporting initially that we weren't going to look to get another winger in. Frank did say, I think it was in the after the Bayern game, he was asked about it, and he said, yeah, we're looking for opportunities, and here it definitely is one. Maybe he knew. Maybe he knew at that point.
We also heard last week the club tried to pull the walls over our eyes because they said, Frank's been so impressed with Odebear, we ain't going to be going for a Son replacement or a left winger.
That's what I'm saying. That's what Ali Gold was reporting, but then Frank said himself, we're looking for opportunities. So looks like we definitely are, and what an opportunity this is. And as I say, I think I wouldn't say like in terms of priorities, like winger wise and stuff, and signing a right winger right now, is that the top priority? No, but I would say
but I think he's going to be our left winger next season.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But either way, even if he is, I think he's too good of an opportunity to miss out on. I think he's just such an upgrade on our winger options. He's such a phenomenal talent. He's so exciting. He's going to get everyone so excited. If I thought we had the best dribbler in Kudus, but we might have just topped it here with Savinho. We're looking at his numbers as well and how amazing he is at dribbling. So we've got potentially two of the best dribblers in the league now, if we can get him in. The one worry I have about this deal is I don't doubt that City are open to selling him, and I don't doubt that we're interested in him. But knowing Tottenham, are we going into this deal saying, okay, we're only gonna do it if it's like 50 million, and then City are like entering it like, look, are you serious about him? Yeah, look, 70 million, you can have him, and we're still haggling over a few million, and then it breaks down because City find out we're actually not as serious as we were saying, kind of thing. That's kind of, I'm a bit worried about that.
The thing that makes me more confident on that aspect is, first of all, that we've put a 50 million proposal in, it's been rejected, and we're still on the negotiation table. So that's positive. And on top of that, we're hearing from Fabrizio Romano, we're hearing from other journalists as well, that Man City are already sounding out replacements for him. And, you know, they're very much on the negotiation table for Rodrigo already. So from that aspect, from all the aspects involved, it seems as though this deal is going to happen.
Yeah, that's when you really know, when teams start looking at alternatives and you hear those rumours, then you really know there's a lot of movement there. I think everything at the moment seems to be pointing in a really positive direction, which is, again, so surprising and astonishing how this is all
we've been
kind
here
of...
before.
Definitely have, but it's just incredible how this is all kind of fallen into place, and we could be seeing it, hopefully, with Savinho as a Tottenham player, which I just never in my wildest dreams would have imagined. Let's hope we get this deal done. I think it's a phenomenal piece of business if we can get it done. I think he's a great player, and I think he can be, hopefully, if he wants to, if we can match his ambitions, all that kind of stuff, he can be here for a long time and be a very good player for us for a long time.
Absolutely. And I just think the thought of having Savinho and Kudus on both wings is a scary thought for me, and I think it'll be such an unbelievable wing pairing to have. But back on the news about when Tom Ornat says that they also want to sign a creative midfielder before the end of the window, Fabrizio Romano said that Eze has always been on Tottenham list, and he still remains of big interest to Tottenham Hotspur. We know that Arsenal have obviously been very interested in him. He's been wanting to go to Arsenal this summer, but nothing seems to be happening on that front. Mm-hmm. With Tom Ornat saying that Spurs are still looking to buy a central midfielder, can you see a world where we spend 70 million euros on Savinho and then spend another 65 million plus on an Eberechi Eze before the end of the window?
I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to, in terms of just purely numbers-wise. We've sold Son, so we've got a massive kind of gap in the wage bill now. Who's so our highest earner now is what, Kuti at 170, and then under
Paulinho.
him, what's Paulinho on?
About 160 or something.
160, but he's only on loan at the moment. We've got 4 players on over 100 grand a week.
Yeah,
we can afford to pay players big wages if we want to, at least another 2. Probably should be able to pay more, but if you, let's say you wanted to sign another 2 players and give them 150 grand each week each or whatever, or even Eze 200, we should be able to do that no problem with our budget, I would say, judging by what I'm looking at. Well, obviously already we know 60 million for Gibbs White is not being spent, so that 60 million could easily be spent on Savio, and then you're looking at the budget on top of that. Hopefully, if we are budgeting some sales through the door, there should be no problem spending another 60 million on Eze. I don't see why that should be an issue. Now, the worry for me, it shouldn't really be financial. It should be if you can convince Eze to come and you can agree a deal and you can beat Arsenal to him. That is obviously where I'm doubtful. But whether we're capable of spending the money, I don't see why not. Why shouldn't
Spurs, like with Arsenal dillying and dallying on this deal, I don't know what the hold-up is from the Arsenal side. Spurs should go in heavy right at this moment in time for Eze and say, look, you're our guy. You are the guy that we really want. Make him feel loved. Make him feel really wanted. And you never know what can happen from that. Can you imagine we end up this window with Eze in the 10, Savinho out on the left or the right, Kudus? Like, what a regeneration of our front line that is. Unbelievable. And all of a sudden, the number 9 becomes the weakest kind of link in our team. As well as that, we're getting a 6 in Paulinho. Like, we are talking about an unbelievable transfer window if all that happens.
Yeah, and obviously there's still maybe looking at a centre back and that as well, and potentially other players who are surplus to requirements. You need to get Basuma out the door, maybe Richarlison. So those are the players as well you have to shift. But if we can get all that business done, it can still be a phenomenal window. I understand a lot of fans are frustrated, us included, with how the month has gone since Gibbs White deal fell through. Obviously, we got Palhinha through the door, and we were mentioning yesterday. You're looking at our front line, and you're looking at that currently, and you're looking at that compared to our competitors. Like it's well short. But you add Eze into that, you add Savinho into that, and also I do think Richarlison and if he was to stay, or a new number 9, and Solanke especially, they're going to be massive beneficiaries to the signings of Savinho and if Eze was to come. I think you might see a much better version of those players. They're going to get a lot better service and a lot more service.
Bloody cross the ball, man. Savinho, his crossing is top notch. And we're talking about Pedro Porro being the only one that can cross in this team. Well, adding Savinho on that massively improves our ability to be able to cross it to the players like Richarlison and Solanke, who are both really good in the air.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm confident, as much as we'll be talking about the number 9 being the weakest option, they can still score goals. They might be the weakest, but it's not like if you can keep Richarlison fit and you got him and Solanke, that's not something I'm particularly worried about. I think there are 2 good strikers there. Sometimes you don't even need the best players in number 9. You just need players who can put the ball in the net.
There is something to say, though. We were speaking about this before, about are these signings, though, going to be able to bridge the gap of the goal contributions that we are missing, though? 67 goal contributions that we keep saying about Son, Maddison, Kulusevski last season. Can Savinho and Eze help us get to that? Can they get to those numbers and more?
I would say still that would be a struggle, but on the flip side, do they have to hit that number if we're getting better defensively? Maybe there'll be a drop-off, but if you kind of balance that out by a much more robust defence, then all of a sudden every goal means more. Whereas last season, defensively, for one reason or another, we were all over the place. And although we scored a lot of goals, we conceded a hell of a lot. So each goal that we scored didn't mean as much as they had 67 goal contributions. But this season, if we, as Bergvall was saying in pre-season, a lot of the focus on pre-season has been about mentality and clean sheets, he said, and set pieces, and defensive shape. So if that's the focus, and we're going to see that put into action during the season, we're going to be seeing a lot more clean sheets and on that, then they might not have to get 67 for it to be a massive improvement.
True. So that's the Savinho and Eze situation. There's just been some breaking news from Tottenham Hotspur as well, as they announced that we are delighted to announce that Mikey Moore has signed a new long-term contract with the club. The attacking midfielder, who turns 18 today, is currently on loan at Rangers. So congratulations and good luck for the season, Mikey Moore. And yeah, that's the news that we've been waiting for since he did sign for Rangers. We heard that they were in contract discussions, and now on his 18th birthday, they've announced a new contract for Mikey Moore.
Yeah, phenomenal news. And it was a bit of a weird situation with his Rangers loan. Apparently, he wasn't able to make his debut until he turned 18, which I don't know if the club knew about that or not when they sent him on loan. But hopefully now he turned 18 and he signed this new deal. He'll be able to make his debut, which is great news for him. I'm really excited to see how he gets on. Very excited to see him getting regular game time. I do find it interesting they didn't announce exactly how long it is. They just said long term, so we can only speculate.
Contract for life, mate.
What do we reckon? 6-7 years, Chelsea-esque. 9 years.
I reckon about 5-6 years.
5-6 years. So that'll be another player next season. Hopefully, if he has a stellar season at Rangers, another player to add to that winger list.
Yeah, absolutely. So very much looking forward to the future of Mikey Moore. Happy birthday to Mikey and congratulations on your new contract. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know your thoughts on Savinho in the comments section below. Do you think Spurs are going to get this over the line? Looking forward to hearing all your opinions.